The sky above Titan 9 was always dark. Thick gray clouds covered the sky and black dust blew through the cold air. Every day humans worked in the deep mines, breaking rocks for the Zorathi Empire. Their hands were cracked, their backs were bent. They wore metal collars that could shock them if they disobeyed. No one had smiled on Titan 9 for many years. Today was no different. A human named Evan Cross slowly pushed a heavy cart full of glowing blue rocks. His face was thin and his eyes looked tired, but something about him was different today. His right hand was shaking, but not from fear. He was holding something small under his sleeve. Behind him, a Zorathi guard growled. The alien stood 10 feet tall with thick purple skin and glowing red eyes. His voice was cold. "Faster, slave, or I'll remind you what pain feels like." Evan didn't answer. He kept walking, pushing the cart toward the drop zone. But under his sleeve, his thumb pressed a hidden button. The device in his hand vibrated, once, then again. That was the signal. Far away in the control tunnels, another human named Raya saw the same signal flash on her stolen screen. She smiled for the first time in 5 years. "It's time," she whispered. One by one, in different parts of the mine, humans began to move. Quietly, carefully. Each one had waited for this day. Each one carried a piece of the plan. They were not just slaves anymore, they were rebels. Back outside, the Zorathi guard stepped in front of Evan. "You're hiding something," the alien hissed. "Show me your hands." Evan looked up slowly. He didn't speak. He didn't need to. Suddenly the ground shook. A loud boom echoed through the mine. Then another. In the distance, fire exploded out of the west tunnel. Flames rose high, and smoke filled the sky. Zorathi guards turned their heads in shock. "What is happening?" one shouted. "The humans! They're attacking!" Another explosion came from the fuel depot. That one was stronger. It broke the landing tower in half. A Zorathi ship crashed to the ground and burned. Chaos spread like fire. Evan smiled. The Zorathi in front of him raised his weapon. "What did you do?" Evan slowly opened his hand and showed the small black device. "We were never just workers," he said. "We were watching, we were learning, and now, we're done waiting." He threw the device into the cart. It exploded. In the command tower above the mines, the Zorathi overseer Commander Threlak watched the scene unfold on a giant screen. His claws tapped the control panel. He was confused and afraid. "Impossible," he said. "Humans are weak. They follow orders." But the screens told a different story. Zorathi guards were falling. Human prisoners had taken weapons. Entire mining sections were on fire. And worse, something else was coming. One of his officers ran in. "Sir, we lost contact with Sector 5, 6, and 8. The power core has been destroyed. We're losing the main reactor." Threlak's red eyes widened. "Send air support." "We can't. Someone hacked the flight systems. The ships won't launch." Back underground, Raya led a group of humans through the storage bay. She wore a stolen Zorathi rifle on her back and a metal shard as armor. Every step she took was filled with purpose. Behind her, others followed, children, elders, engineers, fighters. This was not a riot. This was a revolution. They reached the exit tunnel, once sealed by the Zorathi. Now, it was open. Raya looked at the stars above and said, "Let's take our sky back." On the edge of the minefield, a young boy named Liam stood holding a signal beacon. His hands shook, but his eyes stayed focused. He pushed the red button. High above Titan 9, a strange shape appeared in space. It was black, silent, not Zorathi. A human-made ship, one built in secret, piece by piece, hidden under decades of dirt and pain. The Ashborn had returned, and this time they had a fleet. The prison camp on planet Vorek was dark, cold, and forgotten. It was where the Zorathi sent humans they thought were useless. Old workers, injured rebels, children born in chains. But something had changed. That morning, every loudspeaker in the camp had played a strange message. "We were slaves. Not anymore. The Zorathi think they own the galaxy. But they forgot something. Humans adapt. Humans fight. And now, we remember. The guards tried to stop it. They smashed speakers, cut wires, and punished prisoners. But the message had already done its job. It gave people hope. And hope was dangerous. In a small cell, Mara, the teenage girl who heard the message, sat beside her grandfather, Jonas. His body was weak, but his mind was sharp. "Grandpa," Mara whispered. Was it true? Was that really a human voice? Jonas looked at her with tired eyes. "Yes, child. And it means one thing, the fire we buried in our hearts is still alive." He handed her something wrapped in cloth. It was heavy. "What's this?" "A spark," he said. Mara opened the cloth. Inside was a small metal cube, old and rusted. "It's just a tool," she said. "No," Jonas replied. "It's a piece of an old beacon. One the first ones left. I kept it hidden for years. Now it's waking up." The cube began to hum softly, in her hands. In another part of the galaxy, Commander Elena Rourke stood on the bridge of the Ashbourne, now hidden behind Titan's third moon. Her ship was gathering survivors, supplies, and secrets. A new signal came in, a planet-wide scan from Vorek. "I know that frequency," Elena said. "It's a first one signal." She turned to her crew. They found another fragment, on a prison world. The crew looked shocked. "Do we go after it?" one asked. Elena's eyes narrowed. "We don't leave sparks behind." On Vorek, the guards were nervous. One by one, power systems were failing. Lights flickered. Communication was weak. A strange signal was spreading underground. The prison's leader, a harsh Zorathi named Commander Trask, called in extra patrols. "I want every human checked," he shouted. "Find where that signal is coming from." But it was too late. The cube in Mara's hands had already activated something old, something buried below the prison. She followed a strange pull through secret tunnels under the camp. Other prisoners followed her, trusting the feeling. They reached a hidden door buried under rocks. The cube glowed bright. It opened. Behind the door was a deep chamber filled with dust, machines, and strange writing. A glowing sphere floated in, the center connected to the walls with old cables. Jonas stared in wonder. Another beacon, they left it here long ago, waiting for someone to wake it. The group stepped inside. Suddenly the sphere came to life. A soft voice echoed, "If you are human, you are not forgotten. We left these sparks to remind you. You were never meant to kneel." The chamber lit up. Walls shifted. A hidden panel opened. Inside were weapons, armor, and something more. A data crystal. Mara picked it up. "What's this?" Jonas smiled. "Our real history." Above Vorek, the Ashbourne dropped from stealth and entered low orbit. Zorathi sensors went wild. Sirens screamed. Fighters scrambled, but it was too late. Elena's ship had better tech, stolen from deep Zorathi labs, and her crew was fast. "We're going in hot," she said. "Rescue only. Grab the spark. Get out." Inside the prison, alarms blared. Zorathi ran through halls in panic, but they were not ready for what they saw. Humans standing with weapons that didn't look like any rebel tools. Weapons made of old metal, powered by the first one's energy. Mara stood in front, wearing a light armor plate that shimmered like glass. A guard raised his weapon. She raised hers faster. Boom! The first shot burned a hole through the wall, and the fight began. Commander Trask saw the blast from his tower. "How are they armed? What is that?" "Tech," one of his lieutenants answered, trembling. It's not ours. It's not even human. It's something older," Trask snarled. "Then burn it all. I want this spark destroyed." Elena and her crew landed near the old tunnel. They moved fast, cutting through guards, pulling prisoners out. She found Mara holding the cube and the crystal. "You're the spark," Elena said, impressed. "We came for that." Mara held up the crystal. "This holds our past, the truth they buried. But there's more." The beacon said, "There are others, more places and more sparks." Elena smiled. "Then we light the whole fire." The Ashbourne flew through deep space, silent and fast. Inside, survivors from the prison world Vorek sat quietly. Many were injured, all were tired. But their eyes held something new, hope. Commander Elena Rourke stood at the front of the command deck, watching the stars. Her ship had escaped just in time. Behind them, the prison camp burned. "We saved one spark," she said. "Now we go after the next." The glowing map from the ancient data crystal showed 5 more locations, each one hidden, each one buried in places forgotten by time. Mara, now wearing armor from the old vault, stepped beside her. "We're not just running anymore," she said. "We're hunting." Back on Zarathi Prime, panic was growing. The footage from Vorek had spread across secret networks. Zorathi officials tried to block it, but it was too late. The images were everywhere. Humans armed with ancient weapons, Zorathi guards defeated. A prison set on fire by rebels, the High Council watched in silence. "We underestimated them," one elder said. "They found something we buried long ago," another whispered. "Then we destroy what's left," the Supreme Overseer growled. "No more sparks, no more humans rising." The second location from the data map was a junk world named Delcar 7. It looked like a graveyard of metal, old ships, broken machines, and ash-covered cities. Long ago, it was a human colony. Now only wreckage remained. The Ashborn dropped into low orbit and scanned the surface. "There," said Elena, pointing to a deep crater. "Power readings. Buried tech. That's our next spark." She turned to her team. Mara, her engineer Kai, and 2 former prisoners now trained to fight, Lena and Jace. "You 4 go down. I'll keep the ship ready." On the surface, the team moved through the ruins. Everything was quiet. Too quiet. "This place gives me the creeps," Jace muttered. Ash blew in the wind. Cracked metal groaned. Old machines twitched in silence. Then they saw it. A massive structure half buried in the ground. It looked like a dome, split open long ago by some blast. Inside, they found a vault door. The symbols on it matched those from the beacon on Vorek. Mara placed the old cube from the first beacon against the door. It clicked, hummed, opened. Inside were rows of machines, some dead, some blinking weakly. But in the center was something powerful. A warframe, a giant armored exosuit tall as 2 men, rusted but still alive. This is First One tech," Kai whispered, "and it's bonded to human DNA." Suddenly, an alarm screamed. They weren't alone. From the hills, Zarathi hunter drones rose from the ash, black, fast, and armed. "They found us," Lena shouted. "Back to the dome," Mara ordered. The team ran, ducking blasts. One drone crashed into the dirt. Jace fired back with an old plasma rifle, but it wasn't enough. Then Mara saw the warframe again. She ran to it, placed her hand on the control panel. It glowed, recognized her. The frame opened. Mara stepped inside. Outside, the drones circled, ready to strike. Then something rose from the dust, tall, shining, burning with blue energy. The warframe came alive. With Mara inside, the first drone fired. The warframe's arm swung once. Boom! The drone exploded. One by one, the drones fell as Mara fought like a living weapon. Each move felt natural, like the machine knew her. She felt something deeper, like the old power of Earth's past was guiding her hands. From the Ashborn, Elena watched in awe. "Is that Mara?" one crew member asked. Elena smiled. "That's not just Mara. That's what the Zarathi fear." After the fight, the team pulled the warframe back to the ship. Inside the vault, they found more than weapons, blueprints, command codes, memories. They were recordings, messages from the first ones. One said, "If this is found, then the chains still exist. But know this: steel can break stone, and the human spirit, when armed, can break empires." That night, as the Ashborn moved toward the next spark, Mara stood beside the warframe. It now sat in the ship's main bay, powered up and scanning. Jonas, her grandfather, smiled as he looked at her. "You were born in chains," he said. But now you wear steel. Mara looked up. We're not done yet. No, Jonas said. Now the galaxy learns. Humans don't break. We rise. The Ashborn moved faster than ever. Inside, the crew was tense but ready. Mara stood by the warframe, feeling its power hum through the floor. Every spark we find, she said, makes us stronger. Jonas nodded. But the enemy knows. They will come for us. On Zorathi Prime, the dark city burned with warning lights. The Supreme Overseer sat on his black throne, eyes cold as ice. We cannot lose the sparks, he said to his generals. The Silence Fleet will erase them all. A giant screen lit up with images of the Ashborn, the warframe, and the glowing map. Destroy that ship. Stop the humans. Meanwhile, on the Ashborn, Elena prepared her team for the next mission. The next spark is on a frozen moon, she said. A place called Nivara. The moon was covered in ice and storms. Perfect place to hide a secret, Kai said. But also perfect for a trap, Lena warned. Mara looked at the map. We can't. Stop now. The sparks will lead us to freedom. When the ship landed on Nivara, the crew felt the cold bite their skin through their suits. The landscape was harsh, jagged ice cliffs, deep snow, and strange glowing crystals. They moved slowly, following the map's signal. Suddenly, the ground trembled. The ice cracked. From the frozen depths, huge machines woke up, ancient war machines, bigger than anything Mara had seen before. They were frozen in ice, but their eyes lit up red. Ambush, Jace shouted. The team ran for cover. The machines broke free from the ice, shaking off snow and ice. Their metal bodies were old, but powerful. The warframe activated automatically, protecting Mara. She moved fast inside it, firing lasers and dodging, huge metal fists. The battle was fierce. As the fight raged on, the glowing crystals around them pulsed with energy. Mara realized the crystals powered the machines. If we destroy the crystals, she shouted, the machines will shut down. Kai and Lena moved to break the crystals. The battle became a race against time. One by one, the crystals shattered. The machines slowed, their red eyes dimmed, and they crashed down. The team cheered, but their victory was short. A loud roar echoed from the ice. From the deepest cave, a giant shadow moved. A massive creature made of ice and metal stepped forward. It was a guardian, the final protector of the spark. Mara faced the beast. Her warframe powered up. The battle between steel and ice began. With every hit, the creature struck back harder, but Mara's spirit was stronger. She remembered the chains, the pain, and the fire inside her. With one final strike, the warframe's arm glowed bright. The creature shattered. Behind the beast, a hidden door opened. Inside was the next spark, a glowing orb of pure energy. Jonas took it carefully. This is the flame reborn, he said. It will light our path. Back on the Ashborn, as the ship left Nivara's storm, a warning flashed on the bridge. The silence. Fleet was near. Elena gripped the controls. They're coming for us. The stars outside the Ashborn burned cold and silent. On the bridge, alarms blared. Enemy fleet detected, Elena said, eyes sharp. The Ashborn was surrounded. Black ships, bigger than anything they had seen. The Silence Fleet, the galaxy's deadliest hunters. Inside the command room, tension filled the air. Jonas looked at the glowing orb, the flame reborn. It's their target, he said. They want to kill the spark. Mara stepped forward. We won't let them. The Silence Fleet ships moved like shadows. They fired. First, explosions rocked the Ashborn, lights flickered, but Elena kept her cool. Raise shields. Prepare weapons. Kai worked fast, powering up the warframe. The warframe stood tall, ready for battle. Outside, fighters launched from the Ashborn. Small but fast. They met the enemy ships in a deadly dance. Lasers cut through space. Engines roared. The fight was fierce. Mara climbed into the warframe again. She felt its strength. The warframe was their weapon, their hope. She jumped out of the ship, and into space. The Warframe's boosters fired. She flew toward the enemy ships. The battle in space was chaotic. The silence. Fleet's ships fired huge energy blasts. Mara dodged and struck back. Her Warframe smashed enemy fighters. Each hit made the enemy falter. But more ships came. The Silence fleet was endless. Back on the Ashbourne, Elena directed the fight. "We need to protect the orb," she said. "If they take it, everything is lost." Jason Lena piloted the fighters fighting hard. Kai kept the Warframe charged. Suddenly, a huge Silence fleet ship appeared. The command ship. It fired a giant blast at the Ashbourne. The ship shook. Elena fought to keep control. "We can't survive another hit like that," she said. Mara had an idea. She flew the Warframe straight to the command ship. The giant ship fired again. The Warframe raised its shield. Then Mara charged. With a loud crash, the Warframe hit the command ship's hull. Metal bent and sparks flew. Inside the command ship, alarms sounded. The enemy crew scrambled. But Mara was unstoppable. She punched through walls and systems. She reached the ship's core. With a powerful blast, the core exploded. The command ship shook. Then it started to break apart. Outside, the Silence fleet faltered. Without their command ship, they lost control. The smaller ships turned and fled. The Ashbourne was safe. For now. After the battle, the crew gathered on the bridge. Elena looked at Mara and smiled. "You did it." Mara nodded. "But this war is far from over." Jonas held the glowing orb. "This flame must burn brighter. It's our light in the dark." The stars shone bright as the Ashbourne left the battle behind. The crew was tired but hopeful. They carried the flame reborn, the light of freedom. Mara stood on the bridge, watching the galaxy ahead. "This is our chance," she said quietly, "to end the chains." The Supreme Overseer was furious. He sent his strongest fleets to stop the humans. But the humans were ready. The sparks had become a fire. Elena gathered the crew. "We fight not just for ourselves," she said, "but for every soul who suffered under the masters." The Warframe stood ready. The fighters prepared for the final push. The Ashbourne led the charge into the enemy's heart. The battle was fierce. Explosions lit the darkness. But the humans fought with strength and courage. They were no longer slaves. They were conquerors. Mara's Warframe smashed through enemy lines. She felt the power of the flame inside her. With each victory, the chains broke. The people across the galaxy began to rise. They joined the fight. The Supreme Overseer's throne world was under attack. The humans stormed the palace. The Overseer faced Mara in the final battle. His power was great, but Mara's will was stronger. With a mighty strike, Mara broke the Overseer's defenses. He fell. The chains were broken. Freedom spread across the stars. The humans helped the galaxy rebuild. New alliances formed. The sparks of hope became a bright light. The flame reborn was now a roaring fire. Mara looked to the future. "From chains to conquest," she said, "we have crushed our masters and we are free." The mines of Titan 9 were quiet now. Smoke still rose from broken towers. Fires burned in deep tunnels. Zorathi bodies lay in the dust, their weapons cold. The humans had taken back the surface, but the battle was far from over. Deep underground, in the older tunnels where no Zorathi had entered for years, a group of humans moved carefully. They didn't carry guns. They carried something more dangerous: secrets. Raya walked in front, her boots crunching old stone. Behind her was Dr. Yates, once a scientist, now a rebel. He carried a metal box covered in strange symbols. "What's inside?" someone whispered. Dr. Yates answered in a low voice. "A map and a voice. The first sign that we were never truly alone." Years ago, when the Zorathi forced humans to dig deeper, some workers started hearing strange sounds, whispers like old songs echoing in the rocks. The Zorathi didn't care. They just wanted minerals. But a few humans listened closely. They believed something was hidden below. Now, the Rebels were ready to find it. They stopped at a deep wall, one made of black stone, smooth and ancient. It wasn't natural. It was built. Raya looked at Dr. Yates. "This is it?" He nodded. "The last layer. Behind this wall is what they never wanted us to find." She placed her hand on the stone. "Then let's show the galaxy what they tried to bury. With help from others, they placed small charges around the wall. The countdown began. Ko. Boom. The wall cracked and collapsed. Behind it was a large chamber, dark, silent, untouched for thousands of years. In the center stood a tall machine shaped like a throne but humming with power. Around it were symbols, some human, some alien. Raya stepped forward. "What is this?" Dr. Yates spoke carefully. "A beacon. Left by the first ones. They were not Zorathi. They were before them, before even us." He opened the metal box and pulled out a small cube. When he placed it near the machine, the air began to hum. The walls lit up with light, blue, red, green, and then a voice, old, deep, not human. "If you hear this, then the chains are breaking. Rise, children of Earth, rise and remember who you are." Everyone stood still. The machine powered up, and a map appeared in the air, a map of the stars. Dozens of planets blinked in red. All were Zorathi-controlled, but one blinked in white, unclaimed, unknown. "That's where we go next," Raya said. "That's where the first ones want us to be." Meanwhile, above Titan IX, the human-built ship Ashbourne floated in orbit. Inside, Commander Elena Rourke watched the surface with sharp eyes. Her ship wasn't big, but it was fast and armed with stolen tech. A pilot walked in. "Ma'am, we just received the signal from Raya. They found something." Elena nodded. "Then, prepare to land and tell our people. It's not just a rescue anymore, this is a beginning." She looked out the window at the stars. "And this time, we write the story." Far away in the Zorathi capital, the High Command was still in shock. One planet, lost, that was bad. But now more reports were coming in. Riots on Sector 7. Human workers have taken control of a weapons factory. 2 ships hijacked by rebel slaves. The head general slammed his fist on the table. Who gave them this strength? No one had an answer. Then a dark figure stepped forward. His name was Vaeltar, a shadow commander. He studied ancient wars, forgotten tech, and secret threats. He spoke slowly. "This isn't just a human rebellion." "What is it then?" the general asked. Vaeltar looked into the stars. "It's a memory. Waking up." Back on Titan IX, Raya stood before the beacon. "Send the message," she said. Dr. Yates nodded and activated the device. A new voice echoed through human channels across the stars. "This is not a cry for help. This is a signal of freedom. We were slaves. Not anymore. The Zorathi think they own the galaxy. But they forgot something." He paused. "Humans adapt. Humans fight. And now, we remember." The message repeated again and again, bouncing between stolen satellites and old human ships hiding in deep space. Across the galaxy, humans in chains stopped working and started listening.